delve into The Walking Dead Season 6, Episode 9. It's finally over, guys. Okay, let me pull up Netflix. Okay, fix my scraggly hair. Let's see. Okay. Ready, set, go. Okay, I'll wait for my gang to show up. Rashida, where are you? Nor, we're missing you, love. And hopefully the rest of the crew, Diane, Cam J, and Constance, Sandrine. No, 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 not yet. Where are my crew? Well, it's pretty late. Maybe some folks went to bed. I'm sorry I couldn't do it any earlier. I was swamped today. And then I had to get my first meal of the day. I just ate. And because if I did this review, this reaction without anything in my stomach, I'd be very ornery, very irritable, and everything would annoy me. So now that I've got some sustenance in, I'm ready to put to bed this arc and go on to the best. Rick and Michonne, the very best. Hi, Nikki. Oh, it's good morning for you. It's good night for me. Hi, Tech. I'm doing very well, Nikki. How are you? How is life treating you? Hi, Evelyn. Hi, Sam. Oh, thank you, Sam. How sweet of you. I'm broadcasting from Southern California, Los Angeles. How's everything going for you guys? Oh, thank you, Nikki. You're so sweet. What are you up to? We're getting ready to react to season 6, episode 9 of The Walking Dead. Have you guys seen The Walking Dead before? Oh, Nikki, you're the emoji king. Oh, really, Sam? Where did you stop? Cam J, hi. Yay, Cam J's in the house. No, Nikki. I'm waiting for Rashida, Cam J. Season 1 was epic. It was a great introduction to the series. And the pilot was one of the best pilots ever made, Sam. It hooked you from start to finish. KMJ, do you know which came first, 28 Days Later or The Walking Dead? Because I see some similarities, even though I don't. I saw 28 Days Later long ago, and I haven't watched it since. I need to do a rewatch. Well, we're into a ship right now on The Walking Dead. We're getting ready to ship one of the best love stories in television history. No, I didn't watch The Haunting of Hill House. I heard it was pretty good. I'm a writer, Sam, and I've written in horror. I think my horror is more haunting than probably Haunting of Hill House, because mine is it's supernatural, but it's based in reality. When I say based in reality, it's more real than our world. Really, Cam J, when did you start watching The Walking Dead? Hi, Santosh. Rashida checked in with me earlier, Cam J. I don't know where she is. Nikki. Hi, Nikki. Oh, Nikki. Yeah, Nikki. Yay, Rashida. I'm like, where's Rashida? Okay, awesome. Rashida is here. Cam J's here, Rashida. So, we can start. Hopefully, the rest of the gang comes in sooner than later. But I was waiting for you, Rashida, since you already checked in with me. Yes, Sam. Cam J says, Wiki says 28 days later was in 2002. Oh, you started watching in early season 4. Oh, so you got in good when Michonne was already a part of the show. Did you go back after you started watching in season? Did you start watching early season 4 during the first run of The Walking Dead, Cam J? Hi, Enzo. Oh, thank you, Sanzu. I appreciate that. Hi, Panka or Pankaj. Yeah. So 2002. So it was before. So I guess I wonder now the question is, when did the comics come out? Because if the comics came out after 2002, then we know that The Walking Dead was inspired by 28 Days Later, because that's what happened. He woke up from the hospital and the apocalypse was there. So, Robert Kirkman, if the comic started after 2002, Robert Kirkman saw 28 Days Later and, you know, got inspired. Are you serious, Cam J? That is so amazing. Cam J says, watching Denai in Mother of George and followed her to The Walking Dead. You and Ryan Coogler. A lot of people thought Ryan Coogler casted uh, Denai for Okoye in Black Panther. They thought he casted her because of Michonne. But Ryan Coogler said he had never watched The Walking Dead. and he saw Mother of George, just like you, Cam J, that independent film that Denai did, and was inspired by her character. And from that movie, he wrote the role of Okoye with Denai in mind. So he created Okoye for Denai. And he had never met he met Denai when they were doing the festival rounds. He was doing the festival rounds for what's his first movie after grad school again? What was it? With Michael B. Jordan at the train station. Um what was it? Fruitvale Station. So he was doing uh Ryan was doing the festival route for Fruitvale Station, and Denai was doing a festival round for Mother of George. And Ryan saw Mother of George, loved it, and he met. Did he meet Denai then? I don't remember, but for some reason I think he met it because I heard the story firsthand, but I don't. It was a long time. It was about 2018 when we were doing the fest, or 2019 when we were doing. I was on the nominating committee for SAG-AFTRA, so I think I spoke to Ryan at Disney. I think I spoke to him. We were at Disney Studios. We were in their theater and we were screening Black Panther, and he and Chadwick and Denai and Lupita were there, and it was being hosted by Diana Ross's daughter. What's her name? I can't remember. Well, yeah, Diana Ross's daughter. I don't remember her name right now, but she was in the series Blackish. So she was hosting it. So I asked Ryan what um what made him cast Deny. And he told me, he said, and well, he told me, he answered my question and told the theater full of the nominating committee for the SAG Awards. He told us that he he was so inspired by the nice character, that traditionalist, um, and he wrote Okoye, and Denai said Denai said that she got a call from her agent, and the agent told her that Marvel Studios wants to talk to her. And she thought they were joking. And then, and they said, no, Marvel Studios want to talk to you. So she was pretty busy because she was doing The Walking Dead, and she was also producing her play off Broadway. So she was really, really busy producing her play off and on Broadway. And she got got a quick moment, was able to go and see Ryan. It was Ryan that she met. So when she went, she spoke to Ryan, and he was telling her about Black Panther and what he'd written for her and whatever, and asked her if she would be willing to do the part. And they became fast friends, and yes, she did. She became Okoye, and the rest was history. So that Denai did not audition for Black Panther, and the part was written for her. And she had to be convinced. At first, she was like, I don't know. But then, after speaking to Ryan and, you know, him explaining how he would handle the movie and from what perspective, and how he would showcase the beauty of Africa and all of that. She was all in. So yes. Um Pankaj, I don't know if you're still here, but I said earlier I live in Los Angeles. Um, Sam said 28 days later was another vibe, especially the abandoned city London scene. Yeah. And they did that guerrilla style, Sam. They didn't have the permit, they didn't have the money or the permit to shoot in London. And they didn't have the permit, and two, they didn't have the money to, take over such a large portion of London, that whole area. So what they did, they just shot it early, early morning, before, most people were up and about. And that's how they got the deserted streets. Cam J says, for me, Night of the Living Dead is the standard. I was initially not interested in The Walking Dead because it seemed like a soap opera. I've never seen Fruitvale Station. I've never seen Fruitvale Station, Cam J, because I don't want to. I don't want to it I don't want to break my heart. I don't want to watch that trauma. I don't want to watch the injustice. I don't want to watch a young person lose his life senselessly. And so I avoid it. It's not that I don't think it's a brilliant movie, but I tried to watch it and I just like, no, 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 no. It breaks my heart. And I'm sort of protecting myself from those things. I try not to look at or watch certain things anymore because it affects your spirit. And I don't want to see, I don't want to watch injustices. It's important to know. It's important to know, but I can't put myself through that. And for a movie, no. So Tracy Ellis Ross. Thank you, Rashida. Tracy was, and she was wonderful. Tracy, I became a admirer of Tracy after meeting her at the screening for Black Panther at Disney. So Disney Studio. She was wonderful. And Cam J says, I first saw Dana in The Visitor. I thought she was an absolutely gorgeous woman. Yes, The Visitor. That was her first independent film, right? When she played the immigrant and she was married to that Arab guy. I've not seen that either. These are films that I have to see. I have to watch The Visitor and I have to watch Mother of George. Those are two films I know about them and they've been on my bucket list to watch. So I have to try and view those. Maybe those are movies I can react to on my channel if YouTube get itself together. uh yeah, Sam says, really, I didn't know that. Good information. Thanks. Oh, you're welcome, Sam. Uh Rashida, Fruitvale Station will make me. Yeah, I can't do it. I just no. New World High. Hi, Mauricio. Rashida says it's really hard to watch based on us. Yes, it's hard to go around certain people for me. Thank you, Rashida. Okay, Cam J and Rashida, are you ready? So Cam J said earlier that the comics, who said it? That 28 days later was before the Walking Dead comics. So he was definitely inspired by 28 days later then. Yeah, cuz it's the story starts with the same concept. A man wakes up from a coma and he wakes up to the apocalypse, to zombies overtaking the world. So yeah. But I don't remember if 28 days later was the zombies had only overtaken England. So I have to rewatch that show. So, but in The Walking Dead, it's the world. Heredity is a cool movie also. It changed my perspective of horror movies, and I don't watch horror movies that much. Really? I've heard such praise for Hereditary and for Colette, the actress that starred in it. Some people, it's like this is one of the best films, not just horror films, you know, of the last decade, and some even say centuries. So, and it made such an impression for you that changed your perspective on horror, Sam. That's interesting. I used to love horror movies as a kid. I love being scared. But after I came to understand that the spiritual world it's the real world. The spiritual world is actually the real world. And that everything in our world, the material world, is influenced by the spirit world. I'm very careful about what I watch now. And I don't gravitate to horror movies anymore. I like The Walking Dead not as a horror, but as a character piece, a character study of humanity and our behaviors in certain settings and situations. So, because the zombies are like a joke to me, right? In the Walking Dead, they're not scary. Yeah, they're an agent of death. They carry the virus. So that part, so there's life and death in that. But I don't watch The Walking Dead for or as a horror entity. So I don't gravitate to horror anymore because it's as I said, everything is spiritual and it influences our world. But I will watch a horror movie if it has if it has a commentary on society, and also if it's a great character study. I watch it as a cinephile. And when I say a cinephile, I don't really watch a lot of movies, but because I'm a filmmaker, you know, I don't watch a lot of movies for that also, because I don't want to get take ideas unknowingly from other people. But I am very interested in the art of filmmaking, and also the character study of humanity. So if the horror movies, if it's not just about scaring and spiritual darkness and all of that, I will watch it. Like for Wicked, I don't watch things to do with wizardry, witchcraft, all of that stuff. But I watched it because I heard that it explores themes of great themes of fascism and all of that stuff. So I watched it and I agree that it really uh, actually shine a light on our society and who we are as human beings, but also the interestingly enough, I wasn't there for the romance because I didn't think the actors had chemistry in the first movie, but the second movie, I liked the couple. I liked the romance. So that's so odd. I was like, oh, I don't think they have chemistry. And then the second movie, which I thought was not as good as the first movie as a film, you know, constructed as well as a film as the first movie, but I ended up liking the romance in the movie in the second part. It's weird. Um, Thank you, Cam J. Rashida says, my first horror movie was A Night of the Living Dead and the remake of Dawn of the Dead. The walkers are just background. The real dangers is always humanity. It's the real dangers always is humanity. You're right, Rashida. The walkers became background, until they killed like someone like Carl or Deanna and stuff like that. But I agree with you, Rashida. Cam J says, "Have you read The Road?" No, no, Cam J. Cam J said it is also an apocalyptic novel about a man and his son. Interesting. When did that come out? Was it before The Walking Dead, Cam J? Because I'm like seeing themes here that I was like, ah, Robert Kirkman was very influenced. And you know, the expanding the world with the hilltop, with the hilltop, the saviors, King Ezekiel, and especially King Ezekiel, he was inspired. He was I'm using inspired diplomatically by and tongue in cheek. He Robert Kirkman was influenced by Game of Thrones for that, and then you know things started going off the rails. Hi, Jules. Um, Jules Lils. Jules Lils. Yes, I can say hi, Anne Marie. Hi, Anne Marie. Cam J said around 2005 or 2006, written by McCarthy. Okay. And that was The Road. Okay. Interesting. Maybe The Road inspired the best zombie movie I've ever watched, Train to Busan. Instead of a man and his son in the apocalypse, it was a man and his daughter in the apocalypse. That was such a good movie. Thank you. Hi, Lily. Thank you, Juice Lils. I appreciate it. Great book. Okay, The Road. I'll keep that in mind. Cam J. Yes. Train to Busan was awesome. Okay, so let's get into 6 9 before the hour gets too late for my Eastern Standard Time folks. Oh, we're starting with the Savior drama with Daryl, Sasha, and Abraham.
Why don't you come on out? Join us in the road. That's great. Going well right out of the gate. Now, step two. Hand over your weapons. Why should we? Well, they're not yours.
Whose are they?
Your property now belongs to Negan. If you can get your hands on a tanker, your people, our person, wants to know. So let's get those sidearms, shall we? Right now. Thank you. If you have to eat shit, best not to nibble. Bite, chew, swallow, repeat. It goes quicker.
Who are you people?
I get the curiosity. But we have questions ourselves. And we'll be the ones asking them while we drive you back to wherever it is you call home. Take a gander at where you hang your hats. First, though, your shit. What have you got for us? Yeah, you just took it. Come on. I mean, can we not? Okay? There's more. There is always more. T, take my man to the back of the truck. Start inside the back bumper. Work your way to the front. repeat.
Who's Negan?
Ding dong, hell's bells. You see, usually we introduce ourselves by just popping one of you right off the bat. But you seem like reasonable people. I mean, you're sporting dress blues, for Christ's sake. And like I said, we're going to drive you back to where you were. And do you know how awkward it is carpooling with someone whose friend or friends you've just killed? Oof. But I told you not to ask any questions. And then what does this ginger do? So that's that. I don't want you to get the wrong impression of me. Wait!
Wait.
So I think, okay, when they were about to shoot Abraham and Sasha spoke up, I think that's one of the things that really got to Abraham, that she would, you know, endanger herself to try to save him. That really, he was already into her, but this just made it. It's like, okay, this is a woman that I can, be with for the rest of my life. So I'm seeing now what, part of how, and seeing the progression of Abraham falling for Sasha. Before, it was just like when I first watched it, I was like, what? What's going on? This is out of nowhere. They just wanted him, his story to be ratcheted up before they killed him. And then also they needed that triangle, drama with him, Sasha, and Rosita. So, yeah. So I thought it was just another plot point, which it is, but at least I see a little progression in the story. And notice they were not averse to having the mess with him, Sasha, and Rosita. They weren't averse to it, to make it messy. A man in love, with somebody else, but really in love with another woman. So I was just like, that's why I said that's the part of the Jesse arc that to me was really offensive, that they took Michonne off the board, because that would show, if they left Michonne in the board, they didn't hide Rick and Jesse from the everybody else and just try to make it seem like Rick was pursuing Jesse, which he wasn't. He was pursuing the threat that came with Jesse. So instead of doing that, having it occur in the open with Michonne on the stage as a factor in the story, it would get messy, and it would be messy is interesting. It's a drama. So they pulled Michonne out so that they could just like try to trick the audience. Like, you think this is what's going to happen, but boom, and it didn't make it seem like a real story. It didn't, there was nothing organic about the Jesse arc, and there wasn't, it made it seem like, okay, it compartmentalized, okay, this is a story that happens, and then da-da, here's Rick and Michonne. And it did a disservice to Michonne, and it did a disservice to the beautiful story of how Rick and Michonne's story was progressing, because making it messy then would have made it even more interesting, and even made it was already obvious that Rick was in love, but having Michonne around and seeing how he react to her versus how he react to Jesse when Jesse was around would make it even more obvious. And the only time they did that was the meeting where they had Michonne and Jesse in the same room, and Jesse was like almost faded. She was barely seen, but she was there, but she was just like, Michonne was up front. So they try to do play with visuals to say Cece, but they know a lot of their viewers are dumber than a box of rocks. So they didn't mind that it went over their head because they also were, as Andy loved to say, didn't have any balls. So they didn't mind that a lot of people misinterpreted things, and they didn't mind that a lot of people came away with the erroneous conclusion that because he couldn't get Jesse, he just said, "Oh well," to Michonne, which is completely off, completely not true. But they didn't mind because they media never minds catering to racists because it helps the propaganda to uphold a certain system. So they will always appeal to that stereotype. So Rashida said, "Did you see that Abraham is still wearing his wedding ring?" No, I didn't notice that, Rashida. So it's just like Rick. Hi, Mary. Uh, Endo said, "Are you Japanese?" No, I'm not Japanese. Rashida says, "Sasha is like, yeah, yeah, but in yeah. Oh, so you're saying that's why they didn't mind doing it, Rashida, because Sasha is lighter than Michonne? Yeah, could be." Sherry, hi Sherry. Good to see you. You didn't miss much. We were just we're still on the opener with Abraham and Daryl and Sasha dealing with the saviors. So I was talking about how I see when Sasha stopped the savior from shooting, interrupted and stopped the savior from shooting Abraham. I saw the look that Abraham gave Sasha, and I said, "Oh, now I see that brought Abraham over the edge in the sense of he was already into Sasha, but this made him go, okay, this woman I would spend the rest of my life with. She risks her life to help save mine." So I said I'm seeing the progression versus the first time I watched it, I didn't really see it. And humongous, humongous. No, it's a separation wall. I'm in Los Angeles, California, Bear. Thank you, Rashida. Yes, Cam J. He said, yeah, yeah, but he used his mother, Cam J. He said, "My mother wants Rick with Michonne," and my mother said, "What's the hold up?" And if she said, according to Andy, he said his mother said, "You need to speak to these people because if they had any balls, they would make that happen." So yes, he said it, and he kept using his mother. And when he kept saying his mother, a lot of us were skeptical. And during the press tour for The Ones Who Live, he brought up his mother, or someone, I don't remember who brought up, said Andy's mother. And Danai said, "Stop blaming your mother. You mean you," or something like that. And so it sort of hinted to us that we were right, that he kept saying, my mother, when we're like, no, it's you, Andy." Well, we don't know if his mother really did say those things, but he kept saying that. Because we wouldn't say, even Andy mother wants Rick and Michonne together. It was during the season 6, what promoting the season 6, promoting season 6 before Rick and Michonne even got together. Yeah, during that time, season 5 and season 6, he kept, almost every interview, because fans would say, "Hey, when are Rick and Michonne getting together?" Or, "We love Rick and Michonne." And even in interviews when they asked him about Jesse, he would just say, "Well, I want Rick and Michonne together. That's who I want." He would just, and I remembered a lot of the Jesse and Rick fans. Well, there weren't many, but the people who didn't want to see Rick with Michonne kept pushing, and they were very upset and didn't like that. And they're like, "He's supposed to be promoting Rick and Jesse, that's his story, that's his romance." But they're not getting it. It wasn't a romance. So he never promoted it. And when the interviewers were sly with him and they were like, "Ooh, is Carl gonna get a new mother, a stepmother?" And, "Oh, is we're loving the Rick and Jesse. What's going on there?" And he would just like, and he would then say, Rick and Michonne, I can't wait. I would love, that's who I want, Rick and Michonne. So he never ever promoted Rick and Jesse because it wasn't a love story and it's not a story he was behind or wanted. He didn't like that arc. He did not like that arc. Yeah, Rashida, Denai did tease him that it wasn't your mother. It's, fess up, it wasn't your mother. Which is like, it was you. You kept using your poor mother. Something like that. I can't remember the exact words, but it's definitely Denai trolled him that he was using his mother for his, but he didn't even have to, he he didn't just keep saying it was his mother. He outright said it for him, said it himself too. That's what he wanted. No, she wasn't. No, it was just him. Cam J asked if Alex was on the tours with him. No, she wasn't. It was just when they were interviewing just him. Or it was a panel, but she was not in the panel. The only time Alex showed up was the season premiere. The season premiere for season 6. She showed up and they sat her beside him, interestingly, and they sat Denai behind him. So they sat him and Alex in the front of on the stage. She sat beside him, and then Denai was directly, it was Denai and who's the kid that plays Carl? It was Denai and the kid that plays Carl sitting behind Andy. And yeah. So, and they had filmed everything. She had already died. And on the red carpet, on the red carpet, Chandler, yes, it was Denai and Chandler behind Andy, and it was Andy and Alex sitting together. But on the red carpet of that premiere, I think the premiere was done at Madison Square Garden. It was a big deal. It was like one of their biggest premieres. I think their biggest premiere ever. They had a screening at I think Madison Square Garden or something like that. And but on the red carpet before the panel, um, it was someone was interviewing Andy by himself. And they asked Andy what was he looking for? What's this season like? And Andy said, "Ooh, there's gonna be a lot of deaths." And he was dancing and joking. I think they asked him about Rick and Jesse. And he was like, he started talking about deaths and he was like laughing and like really happy. And we picked up, after watching the season, after episode 9, we picked up Andy was actually spoiling what was coming, and he was saying, "Oh, there's usually that." He wasn't, and actors would go, yeah, there's gonna be deaths, we're gonna lose some people. He's like, there's gonna be deaths or lose some people, and he was like dancing and go, ooh. It was really, it was like, Andy, wow. Yeah, he was celebrating the deaths of certain characters. And I was just like, yikes. Yes, Rashida. Andy went on that radio show in LA to campaign for Rick and Michonne to be together. Yes. And I didn't like that interview in LA because typically the radio host, it was two black guys, and they were asking Rick who he wanted, you know? He's like, okay, Rick, you have all these women around you and everything. And and Andy came out and said, Michonne, I want Rick to be with Michonne. He straight up said that. And um, the one of the guys said, the black chick, and Rick said Michonne. Yeah, I want to be with Michonne. And then the two guys were saying, but what about they said Tara. Tara is hot. Rosita, and they named, yeah, so they named Tara, they named a, a, a few of Rick's ladies, the ladies in his group, like to say, why, when you have these other women? And it wasn't penetrating to Andy what they were saying, because Andy was just like, I want Rick to be with Michonne. But I was so disgusted by those two radio hosts because they were trying to actually negate uh, Michonne. And they wouldn't even call Michonne by her name. Yet they just called her the black chick. And they called the other characters by her name. Even Tara, who is a gay character. Why would Rick want to be with Tara? It was just, they were like, oh yeah, she's hot and whatever. It was so disgusting. And I was just like, what? It just again showed you the stranglehold that certain propaganda have over certain people. It was just like, wow, that's fascinating. Sherry says, do you think there'll be a season 2 of The Ones Who Live or a continuation of Rick and Michonne's story? Sherry, honestly, I don't want it. I want it and I don't want it. I want it because I miss Rick and Michonne, and I love Andy and Denai working together. I think they're stellar. They have amazing chemistry. So I love it, and I love Rick and Michonne. I think they're the, the best, if not the best, one of the best pairings in television history. So for that, selfishly, I want it. But I don't want it because they wrap their story up so beautifully at the end of The Ones Who Live. Rick lives, Michonne lives. Rick met his baby RJ. He lost his son, his one and only son, and Michonne lost her one and only son. And they were gifted the best gift ever. They were gifted a son of their own, the flesh and blood son. Yes, I know Carl is Michonne's son in our heart, and Judith is Michonne's and Rick's daughter in their heart, and that's beautiful. And that will never change. She is their child, but they lost the fruit. They lost a child of their loins. They lost a child, their only living relative. They lost, and their love, they were broken. They were broken because of that loss. Michonne with Andre and Rick with Carl. And here are these two broken lives that came together and united in a once in a lifetime love. Many people never experienced the type of love that Rick and Michonne experienced with each other. They have loved before, but never like this. This was a soul tying, beautiful, beautiful, as Rick says, the love of his life. And for Michonne, Rick is the love of her life. And as Andy said, the greatest love story of his life in terms of Rick's life. So these people are soulmates and they love each other in a type of love that it's rare. Most human beings don't experience that type of love. So it was just amazing to see that. And they created a life together with that love. So as Rick said to Michonne, it's a broken world, Michonne, but you fixed it. You know, in essence, he's telling her, you made me whole again. She was broken. He made her whole again. And he was broken. And part of that is them creating this life, Archie, where they both lost their hearts in losing their sons. And now they have a son together. And Rick was able, Michonne fought tooth and nail. She almost sacrificed her life so that she could reunite Rick with this love, because she knew he needed it, because she needed it, and he needed it. And she gave RJ his father, and she gave Rick his son. So it, to me, there's no better ending. It was perfection. And it wrapped their story up and they survived. And they're with Judith. So it makes it even, it completes it. So we have that, right? And the communities, the CRM is the Civic Republic, and the CRM is working with people in the communities that Rick knows and other communities to help, instead of trying to destroy each other. And they're sharing resources now. So that was a beautiful end. The selfish part of me who wants to see it continue is also afraid. If it continues, as I'm afraid they will do something that will tarnish Rick and Michonne's story. And why I say that is because, as you saw in season 6 and beyond of The Walking Dead, it became about shocking and trying to do things to when the story doesn't need to go on and you don't know what else to do, they try ways to shock the audience, or they try ways to do things that will get people talking, that things that are not organic, because organic and deep character studies can get people talking. But for a lot of these executives and showrunners or whatever, it's about shocking and twists and everything, and they don't care if it's organic or not, or if it suits the character or not. So, and then you have Andy, who has a really twisted sense of humor. I wouldn't be shocked if they continued and Andy said, kill off Rick, because that's who Andy is. Andy likes to Andy wants his character to go through the worst things and to be macabre and whatever. He just has a really twisted sense of humor. And, like he's like, chop off Rick's hands. Yeah, chop it off. So I don't want Rick to die. And I don't want Michonne to die. And where else are they going to go when they had that perfect ending? What else would go, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened. Or I don't want RJ to die. I don't want that. And people with, because you're like, it's not fair, but the world isn't fair. That the world is ended. The world is, it's an apocalypse. It's supposed to be dire. And how are they going to be dire if they have, what would be more dire? They get their child and the child is taken. So I don't want them to do something that would tarnish, or I don't want them to do something stupid. That's why I'm hesitant. I'm selfishly want them to continue because I want to see them, but intuitively, I don't want them to continue because they may spoil it. They may mess up the end. And a lot of really hateful, racist, petty people wants that to happen because they are gunning. They desperately want Michonne to be taken out. They want to get rid of Michonne so that Rick can service their favorite character. When they want Rick with Daryl so Rick can boost Daryl's make Daryl relevant and boost his story. The Negan fans want Rick to be about Negan, so that they can getting rid of Michonne will have Rick and Negan facing each other again, give Negan a boost and relevancy. So they want Michonne out of the way so Rick can be used to prop their characters up. And the suits at the AMC, I don't know what it is. They are in love with Norman Reedus and what's the Negan guy's name? Jeffrey D. Morgan. So I wouldn't be surprised that they want Andy to give relevance to those two characters because they want to milk this on the way. And they know that Andy will not stay around forever. And so what other way could to continue using Andy to boost those other characters' story? So I don't want it to continue because I understand the way that the suits behind the show are thinking. And because Andy is so funny and twisted, he was like, yeah, just kill off Rick and whatever. And plus, Andy wants to move on eventually. So I can see him saying, yeah, for them to stop asking me to come back, the only way to do that is to get rid of Rick. And if I don't mind, because The Walking Dead, once Rick is gone, The Walking Dead will be over. No matter what the suits say or do, or who they prop, if they kill Rick Grimes, it's over. The whole universe, people will lose interest. Why there was interest in Negan's and Daryl's after story sequels, spin-offs, is because Rick was still somewhere around and they're still hoping that Rick will come in and service those stories. But if Rick is truly dead in the Walking Dead universe, people will finally move on. And I can see Andy saying, you know what, let's kill him so that we can move on from this, because he and Danai are not going to continue doing this forever. So I rather the ending they gave us in the Ones Who Live than, yeah, later on Rick dies and then the kids go on, because AMC is going to try and milk it, but it would be dead. And I don't want, I prefer this ending. But to answer your question, I didn't fully answer it, Sherry, because I just gave you my opinion. The the Andy was asked if he would ever come back again, and when he was doing promotion for his latest series, which is Coldwater Canyon. And he said there have been talks. There have been talks behind the scene, which tells me, which I knew, because so far The Ones Who Live is their most successful spin-off and most successful show, period, for AMC after The Walking Dead. And so they've been trying to get him back and to continue. But Andy did say that the only way he would come back is if it's something that Scott and Denai wrote. And remember, he, Scott, and Danai were responsible for the ones who lived. So basically, he's saying if we got the gang back together, as Scott Gimple calls them, a band. Uh, so if they got the band back together, the trio together, if they came up with a story. And Danai said the story would have to be necessary. So I can't think of a necessary story. And to me, again, if they do it, I would not be shocked. I'm not saying it would happen, but I would not be shocked if one of them dies because they want to get off the roller coaster at some point. And that's the way to kill it. But if AMC was smart, they would not allow them to do that. But if they don't do it, people were going to be saying, okay, when's the next one? When's the next one? Or when is Rick gonna come to this? Or when are we gonna reunite and have season 12 of The Walking? It would just they just will keep harassing them. So I'm suspicious and that Andy, just to get that, harassment off, may just said let's end it. And I want to think Rick and Michonne are out there somewhere, with their family. So I don't. Yeah. So it's possible because Andy did say there are talks and they need the money. AMC's other shows are not doing well. They some may have critical acclaim like the vampire show, but they're not bringing in the money. And the Ones Who Lived was their most successful show for their app. So and they only gave Netflix 1 year of it and took it back. So that tells you how important it is. Yet, so I just it's a pot the answer to your question, Sherry, is yes. It's very possible that there will be a season 2 of The Ones Who Live. And then you had fans of Rick and Michonne fans that went to see Andy in his play on the West End recently, and they were all excited and hinting that Andy told them something, and they kept saying ... like they can't wait for the announcement for ... So I don't know if they're trolling us or the Andy, and it's not just one, it's different fans from Europe, from America that flew into London to see his play, and he met with them. He saw them, spoke with them. When I say met with them, he he didn't go off and, sit down and have tea with them, but he spoke with them, and he knows they're Rick and Michonne fans, and they asked him, and whatever he told them, they're very excited, very hopeful. Some outright coming and saying, "Yeah, it's coming." So, we'll see. I don't know, but it's very possible, and I have very mixed feelings about it. Sherry, Rashida said those two holes on area show was stupid, saying how moist everything was. What are you talking about, Rashida? What did I miss? Cam J says Andy is like a kid, cannot keep his mouth shut. Cam J, he spoils everything. Cam J says, I'm glad I never heard or listened to that. It was terrible. I was just like, really? I mean, leave it to the people who are supposed to uplift us and protect us, always are the first to denigrate us. It's so sad, and it's so predictable. Rashida says, morning show adolescence. Rashida says, Cam J, I watched the interview on YouTube. Those two jerks were embarrassing. Cam J says, Rashida, this is when I say ignorance is bliss for me. Sherry says, so true. You summed it up perfectly. I'm done. Sherry, thank you. Cam J said, confession. I had anxiety watching each episode, thinking one of them would die. Crazy how a simple TV show did that for me. Cam J, we were also anxious for the finale for season 6 when Negan, the lineup, the Negan lineup. Oh my gosh. Everyone, not everyone, But the haters, they kept hoping and trying to manifest Michonne as the victim. They just were so sure, and they did all these conspiracy theory videos, the YouTube the dudes, the Negan dudes and the Daryl dudes, and they were so confident that Michonne was the one that got killed. And we were we were so anxious. Everybody was anxious, and I thought no, they wouldn't. But then remember, Denai's stardom was taken off with Black Panther. And was this around Black Panther? I don't know, but Danai had done her play. She had got nominated for a Tony. And I think she was filming, if it wasn't out yet, she was filming Black Panther. So we're like, oh my gosh, she's not going to stick around for The Walking Dead. She's getting too big for this show now. And so it was an anxious time. Cam J, so I understand. Rashida says, I try not to scroll through the comments. Half the people are Shane bros. Cam J said, these are beautiful characters. Yes, they are. Rashida says, that's why Daryl Dixon and Dead City, those fans want Rick to meet up with them on those shows. Yeah, because he gives those characters and those shows relevance. So that's why they want, not that that's why, it's one of the reasons why they want to get rid of Michonne, so that Rick can be about those characters to elevate them. Michonne, Cam J says, Michonne mentioned Daryl in The Ones Who Live. Did Daryl mention Rick or Michonne in his series? No, Cam J. I didn't watch it, but I asked the people that watch it, and they said he didn't mention Rick once. And what he did mention, I think they said at the end of season 1. No, I think he mentioned Judith and RJ, and and a lady, which was supposed to refer to Carol, a lady, and so I think, and others that he, left behind. So yeah, and then I think the last episode of the first season in Daryl's show, Carol called, and he couldn't hear, like, I don't remember if I don't know if it's a phone call or it's a radio call. There was a lot of static, so you couldn't hear. So when she said something returned, the Daryl fans went berserk because they thought Carol was telling Daryl that Rick had returned, because he said it's static returned, static returned. So everyone's like, yay, he returned. So they thought Daryl was gonna go back to Alexandria to meet up with Rick, or Rick was gonna go and find Daryl in season 2 of Daryl Dixon. So that was about it. So it got people excited, and that's what they watched the show for, to see if Daryl would talk about Rick, where Rick was, or his search for Rick. And so yeah, it's the first season had a lot of interest for that. When after The Ones Who Live aired, the interest dived, the ratings crashed, because they know now that Rick wasn't that Rick was found. They know where Rick was, because that's what people were interested in. They knew where Rick was, and that Rick went home. So now they don't care about Daryl Dixon's show with Daryl in Europe doing whatever he's doing. They want Daryl to go back to Alexandria so that Daryl can be with Rick, to reunite with Rick. So they no longer watch Daryl's show because they know that Rick isn't there. So the interest is Rick Grimes. And that's what I keep telling people. They keep saying, oh, Daryl carried the show. Whoever can, Negan carry. I was like, yeah, right. The majority of fans, Daryl has his fans, Negan has his fans, but the majority of the Walking Dead fans, right? Whether they're full on Walking Dead stans, or they're just casual viewers. It's they're interested in Rick Grimes' story. So that's why those fans of those characters want Rick Grimes to bring his story to their character so that people will watch their character, make their characters relevant. Because that's why I said if they listen to whoever's here bears ridiculous scheme to kill off Rick Grimes, The Walking Dead is done. Because that's what happened in the comics. Gimple, not Gimple, Kirk, Kirkman killed off Rick because he knew Andy was leaving, and so he wanted to switch the story to Carl. And when he did that, his comic died because it's Rick Grimes' story. People were interested in Rick Grimes, so the only way for The Walking Dead to not even have remnants of fan waiting around is to kill Rick Grimes. And I fear Andy would do it because he really wants to move on. And you know, Cam J, interestingly enough, I don't know if you heard of this, when Norman Reedus was doing Hi Devastator, when Norman Reedus was doing press for Daryl Dixon, they asked him if Daryl would reunite with Rick. And Daryl said, nah, he's not interested in that. As a matter of fact, Norman Reedus says what would be good is if when Daryl finally reunites with Rick, it would be to reunite with Rick's grave. You know, like he pitched, he said, like if Daryl goes back to Alexandria and he goes and he sees Rick Graves' grave and he, you know, pays tribute to Rick at Rick's grave. But he said, yeah, that's the reunion I want. I don't really want, you know. And he said that. So while his fans are attacking Danai, attacking Michonne, and attacking Rick and Michonne show because they think Michonne and Rick and Michonne is denying Daryl and um keeping Andy from going to be supporting character on Daryl's show, right? While they're attacking Danai for that, thinking Danai is controlling Andy from going to leading his own show to go support Daryl's show to be a supporting character, number 2 on the call sheet. Norman Reedus is saying he doesn't want that. As a matter of fact, he wants Rick Grimes dead because he, in essence, he wants to be the number 1. So isn't that ironic? They're pushing and blaming and attacking Danai for something that Andy is doing, you know, having his own show and wanting Michonne to be the, you know, his co-lead. They're attacking Danai for that, while Norman Reedus is saying he doesn't want Rick on his show. And as a matter of fact, he wants Rick dead. So the irony of it all. Devastator said hi. Rashida said no, Cam J. Daryl did not mention Rick or Michonne in a series. Yeah, Michonne was not mentioned at all. That for sure I know. Raspberry. Hi, Raspberry. Thank you. Oh, yes. I'm glad. Raspberry said, I'm so glad I caught the live. Yes, I'm glad you caught it. Raspberry says, Rashone is the AMC money maker apart from Interview with the Vampire. Cam J says, Dark Winds is fantastic, but not popular. Also based on a novel series. They have good, you know, AMC always has a good shows, but they're not always successful in the sense that they need money, you know, they need money to keep the network going. It's a profit-based business. So, and the Walking Dead and the ones who live is their moneymaker right now. Um, the licensing from Netflix from the Walking Dead, and they get higher rate for the ones who live from Netflix, and then it was their number one moneymaker on AMC app. So, numbers talk. Raspberry said, I would love from you to review Interview with the Vampire. They have more main character roles to Black individuals. Yeah, Raspberry, I was talking about that earlier, that I used to love horror and stuff like that, but I don't do it anymore. So, if Interview with a Vampire, even though it's not horror, it has elements that I stay away from spiritually. Constant. Yay. Okay, we can get into this episode now. Constant is here, and Raspberry's here, and Sherry's here. Okay, yay. Um, The Walking Dead premiere, season 7, 2016. So that was before Black Panther. Okay. Cam J said my anxiety was watching Really? You were very anxious. Oh, the ones who live. Oh, it wasn't the one. You thought they were going to kill either Rick or Michonne in the ones who live, not the Walking Dead. Okay, I got you, Cam J. Black Panther was 2018. Yeah, but they were filming in when? 2017? I don't remember. But yeah, but before that, she was doing her plays, and she was, yeah, so I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about, Rashida. Rashida said Carol's return was a feeling. Is that the word you wanted to use, Rashida? Feeling? Chris said, "Holy, you have a yeah, I do, don't I? Because of all that brain, Chris. Need a big forehead to hold all that brain." Yeah, he's trolling. He's trolling Rashida. Ignore it. And I don't mind it. So I don't care if he is awed by it. Cam J said I watched the first season of DC and Daryl Dixon, but not the other seasons. So I wondered if they mentioned Rick or Michonne in the different seasons. No, the only season that I heard that they mentioned something where there was a hint was season 1 of Daryl Dixon, and it wasn't really a mention. It was hoping that it was a mention, and it was that static call saying somebody had returned, and it turned out not to be about Rick in season 2. So people were like so disappointed. That's what I read. Sherry says, right, let's be nice here. Raspberry says the ones who live was 10 times better than The Walking Dead. It understood Rick better. Yes, Raspberry. It was such a huge improvement over The Walking Dead. Huge, huge for Rick and Michonne's relationship, for Rick and for Michonne. Yeah, huge. The I would say the early seasons of The Walking Dead um was comparable. It was comparable with that because it was character driven. And The Walking Dead seasons 1 through the first half of season 5 was character driven. So the ones who hold on. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I had it on mute. Thank you for letting me know, Rashida. So, Cam J, um, I said, oh, yes, please, everyone. I said I couldn't watch Cam J's Superman reaction because I haven't seen it yet. But I play it. I'm going to play it and give her the views. And I said, everyone, please go subscribe to Cam J's channel. The stories I missed. Please watch, give her the likes, the subscription. And I can't watch her reviews yet because a reaction yet because I haven't seen any of the shows or movies, but I'm giving her the views. And I also said, uh, Rashida said Carol had a feeling, and I said I don't know what you're talking about when she talked to Daryl when they were in France, and I was like feeling about what, Rashida? I don't know what you're what she had a feeling about. Please let us know. And I also said that Cam J said, oh, thank you, Cam J. No problem. You are sweet. Of course, we support you, love. And Cam J said, I must admit, Norma made a comment at the Ones Who Live premiere, or was it the Saturn Award, that his second season finale is the best episode of all the Walking Dead episodes. And Cam J said I thought that was inappropriate. And I was saying to Cam J that yeah, it was a little inappropriate because, if he said that at the Ones Who Live premiere, but I also give him some slack because he's gonna hype his show. He's gonna try to make it seem the best ever because he's trying to sell it. He produced this and he wants it to do well. But I can't fault someone for pushing their show. But the setting could be inappropriate. But it doesn't matter. He wants to be the number one on the call sheet, and he wants to have the number one show. But the audience gets to speak. The audience, the numbers get the final say. And the number says Rick and Michonne are number one, and number one on the call sheet is Andrew Lincoln. So there you go. But I can't fault him for his desire to be number one because we all have our wishes or dreams, but the numbers have the final say. The audience has the final say. Raspberry said, Cam J, you have great reactions. Keep them coming. Also, please check out From. It's a horror mystery with a black main character. Rashida says, Carol had feelings back from old times. It was a dumb statement. I still don't understand what that's about, Rashida. But let's get into episode 9 of season 6 because I don't really care about Daryl Dixon's show or what Carol feels. Yeah, I've been hearing things about From. Isn't the guy from that played Tyrese in that show?
You don't have to do this.
Shut up.
I am talking to the man.
No, you're not. I'm not gonna kill you. Wait. Wait. You know what? Yes, I
I'm not gonna kill you. No, wait. Yes, I am. Pow! They got blown to smithereens. Pow! Wow.
Some bitch is covering your love.
Did he cut you?
A little. You're a bunch of assholes.
Let's get you fixed up at home.
So there we have it, guys. I've said it before. The Saviors started the war. They were going to kill Daryl, Sasha, and Abraham. There you got it. The war began. Rick and his group didn't start the war, and they didn't retaliate on innocent people. They started the war. There you go. How everybody watches this and keep lying and claiming Rick and his group started the war. The war started right here. If Daryl didn't blow them up, Sasha and Abraham would have been dead. And if the other guy didn't kill Daryl in the back, the others would kill Daryl. The Saviors started the war. Negan, who is responsible for the Saviors, started the war. Just like Rick, who is responsible for his group, has to take the Saviors down.
Yes, ma'am.
Sasha is so glad. She says so happy to be alive, so happy that they were saved. And she's like, come on, Daryl, let's take you home.
Nibble on that.
Abraham says, nibble on that. I'm gonna skip intro. Okay, let's start. Are we gonna go now to mom? Mom. Now, wasn't this a big deal that it ended mom, mom? And then nothing. No continuation from that moment. Just them going through the horde. That made no sense. Because the walkers would have heard him going, mom, mom. So there is it. It just continued with them walking with nothing else. You know, I'm looking at the camera focuses on each character as they walk through the horde. So I'm gonna go back because I didn't really take in Rick's reaction. I saw Gabriel's and I saw Michonne's, and such good actors. They really, their eyes and their mannerisms shows you I'm in the midst of something diabolical that could go off right now. Gabriel kept his head down. Michonne's eyes kept shifting and she was like on alert. I'm gonna go back and look at the different actors and how they were reacting as they walk through. So I think we start off with Rick. I want to see what Andy does. Andy's focused. Rick is focused. Rick is determined. Rick is alert. It's like, scoping an alert, just looking for a crack in, danger. If anything will break or if the walkers will sense them. So very good. He is on alert. The kid that plays Ron, good reaction. He is like looking down. He's trying to not even look around because he's scared, but he's trying to track what's coming around him, but he doesn't really want to see it. So good reaction, appropriate. Carl looks down, looks around, looks at the others behind him. Carl is playing his character because one of Carl's weak spots is Carl's confidence. Carl thinks he has a handle on things, and that's why his death by Walker bite was actually a good death, in that that's how he went out, because throughout the seasons, especially season 4, Carl got a little arrogant in that I can do this. This is nothing. This is easy for me. And he had very many close calls because of that carelessness, which comes with, his youth, his adolescence. Kids and young people think they're indestructible. So he is a little bit more confident than Ron, and that is actually that actually aligns with his character. So good job, Chandler. And then we have is her name Alex Kamj? Because I can't, Alexander or whatever. Alex, yeah, Jesse. She has that same expression on her face, and she doesn't look like she's in the midst of a bomb. She doesn't look like she's in the midst of danger. Do you see that, Cam J? Cam J said, Ron, yes, very good reaction. She could have just been walking through the street. Rashida says she has a puppy dog look on her face. She's not looking around. She's looking at Rick. I don't know what she's looking at. She looks like she's just looking at around the neighborhood. When I say looking around the neighborhood, she's just walking. There's nothing saying that there is impending doom around her. It's this and the expression and the body language doesn't match the situation. And then we have Gabriel, head down, focused, eyes shifting to see if anything is getting close to him, but he too doesn't want to concentrate because he's afraid of them. He's still in that phase. He gets up the courage to fight, but he's still in that phase where he's not confident around them. And then Michonne is looking around, scouting, watching if anything is getting close. But she's not looking down, scared like Ron or Gabriel. She is actually ready. She's scoping and ready. And then here's poor Sam. Cam J said Jessie should look terrified, but she's blank. She's blank. And just like there's no reaction to what's her set, the surrounding. There's no reaction to the setting she's in. She's not, it's like she's not around zombies. it's just like, woman, please react to your surroundings. Make believe that's what acting is. Oh my gosh. Cam J said Jessie should look terrified, but she's blank. She also was not watching her sons. No, she's blank. She's not terrified. She's not even like being vigilant. She's just blank and with the usual puppy dog expression. Um yeah, Gabriel looks terrified. Yeah. Yeah, he is. Thank you for the more descript words for what I've been trying to say, Cam J. I appreciate that. Sam looks resentful more than scared. Let's see. But he's a kid. I wouldn't expect, you know, top of the line acting from him, but he should have been a little bit more terrified for his character's arc. Look at that. Rick leading and Michonne bringing up the rear. Cam J said, "Is that how they wrote her character?" No, it's the acting. It's the acting, Cam J, because everyone is reacting according to who their character is and how their character feels. She's just walking down the street. She's just, yeah, no, that's not the writing. That's the acting. And the director should have intervened and asked for better reaction. Cam J says, "Have I never seen her in anything other than her playing Jessie?" She's gone on from The Walking Dead to get bigger stuff. She got This Is Us, and she got, after someone said she was on another show. I think she's the lead character now on another show. I don't know if it's on Netflix. I don't remember the name of the show. I've never watched This Is Us, and I've never the show that the person had mentioned. I never saw it or cared to see it. But of the this small little uh role in The Walking Dead, she has gone on to bigger things. She's gone on to continue to be a successful working actor. And that shows you the strength of The Walking Dead, because many of the actors have gone, well, a lot of the actors that came to The Walking Dead were already great actors, like, Seth from The Wire, Tyrese, so many good, not Tyrese wasn't from The Wire. Um, who was it? Morgan. Yeah. But, just the casting for The Walking Dead was really good. They got really good actors. There was just a few that was iffy, questionable. And this one, yeah, Jesse is, but having The Walking Dead on her resume helped. And, and for some, uh, Hollywood, it doesn't, talent is not necessary. It's just a certain look, you can get by in Hollywood. But for me, there have been characters that I think were weak, actors that I think were weak, and you saw them mostly in the latter seasons, So this is one. She was very weak. This acting is atrocious, and it's sad that this is what Andy had to work with, but um this and there's another character that a lot of The Walking Dead fans love, and I don't understand why she was in it so long. Tara, that character, it's yikes. Her character was not necessary, and she was in it forever for too long, and and I didn't think the acting was strong either, and hi, the Slayer. No, I've not. Oh, you're a Rick fan, the Slayer? Oh, we love Rick Grimes is The Walking Dead. You will love my reaction because Rick is the man. And because I tell the truth in that Rick is the man. Other reactors, they will push their characters, try to push their characters above Rick because they're a fan of the actor that that plays the character that they love. But it doesn't matter if I love any other character. I love Michonne. I am a huge fan of Danai Gurira, and I love Michonne, and I think she's like top of the top. But Michonne is not The Walking Dead. Rick Grimes is The Walking Dead. So I'll tell the truth. You know, other reactors, they will push their characters, but I'll tell the truth. Rick Grimes is The Walking Dead. So you found the right place, the Slayer. Cam J said, oops, I've never seen her in anything. I just started watching This Is Us, only on episode 2, and I've not seen her. Yeah, she comes later. She plays a love interest appropriately because I guess they thought that she's suitable for that. And in her new show, I think, it's about that. I think, I don't know if she's the number one because I don't know if it's her show, but it's about relationship. So yeah, she's, I guess the casting directors like her for that, because just give puppy dog look and people will go, oh, she's in love. I don't know. Gabriel was on the wire. Yes. The Slayer says Angela Lincoln is the best. Yes, he is the best. He is the best, and he is The Walking Dead. If Rick Grimes goes, the Walking universe dies. Period. The Slayer says thanks, and also Michonne. Okay. The Slayer said my second favorite actor is Abraham Ford in The Walking Dead. Abraham, I was not sold on Abraham that much. I liked him, but wasn't that in gung ho for the character the first watch. This time, I'm loving Abraham. He's he is something else. Lewis, do you like Beyonce? I I appreciate her as a talent, but I'm not a big fan. Yeah, I'm more into I like I'm not a fan of the tone. Singers have a tone. So even though I like some of her songs, the music, I don't her tone is not my favorite that I like to listen to. So, I like Whitney Houston, which I think she has one of the best tones. I like there's a singer that whose tone is out of this world, Karen Carpenter. Um, but for modern artists, I think modern when I say modern artists, I don't listen to artists today, but when I used to listen to a lot of music on the radio, Whitney Houston had the best tone. So I'm a huge Whitney Houston fan. And I thought as an entertainer, Michael Jackson, bar none. So I can see and appreciate Beyonce's as an entertainer, but I wouldn't say I'm a huge fan. But I have nothing against her. I wish her all the best. Oh, thank you so much, Constant. I appreciate it. Cam J says, I see Alex and think she belongs on the Hallmark channel. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. The Hallmark Channel movies. Yes, I agree, Cam J. It has no place acting opposite such stellar actors, in my opinion, and on such a show, a juggernaut like The Walking Dead has, that has great acting, great actors, great writing in five, the first 4.5 seasons. No, it's a travesty to put her with those actors. And because, Andrew Lincoln set the tone. Who's the guy that plays Shane? The guy that plays Shane set the tone. Oh, thank you, Lewis. I appreciate that. Um, the the actress that played Laurie set the tone. Brilliant act. I don't like Shane. I don't like Laurie, but I cannot fault their acting. Their acting was up here. They were stellar actors. So John Berthal, and who is no, Los Angeles, Louis. What's Laurie's actress name? Raspberry said yes. Whitney and Michael. Beyonce comes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Whitney and Michael. That's voice and artistry. Just whew. Um, Laurie. Yes. Who is the actress that plays Laurie? Thank you, Rashida. Sarah Wayne. Callis. Yes. Andrew Lincoln, John Berthel, Sarah Wayne Callis. Superb acting. Superb. John Berthel made me hate but understand Shane. Laurie, Sarah Wayne Callis made Laurie so annoying but so real. And their acting was flawless, realistic, and they really put The Walking Dead on their shoulder. They carried that show, and Andrew Lincoln just propelled it, just carried it. Even when Sarah and John left, he propelled and carried it forward. So it's just, yeah. And to see when Andrew opposite Sarah, Andrew opposite Herschel, the actor named Herschel, Andrew opposite Morgan, Andrew opposite the governor. Just teller, just superb, excellent acting, and the writing just supported them. And then Andrew opposite Denai. And then to do that to him, no wonder I didn't, it was not professional, Cam J, that he kept ignoring that arc and saying he wants his character with someone else. But I understand it. Can you imagine that caliber of acting that he had and was surrounded with, and then he was paired with this? When I say this caliber of this lowered bar of acting, where no expression, no appropriate expression, it was insulting to Andrew. It was. And so I understood him just not feeling it and not promoting it and saying what he wants, because the writers were playing with him. Yeah, Norman did a great job early season. I like Norman's acting in seasons 1 and 2 and 3. Season 4, Norman started to play Norman. Norman played Daryl Dixon in 1, 2, and 3, and he did a very good job. But, and Merle. Andrew opposite the guy that played Merle. I couldn't stand Merle, but the acting, I could never fault him. He was a great actor. And Norman Reedus played Daryl very well, but after season 4, Norman Reedus played Norman Reedus. He was he was mostly playing himself, so I don't know. Hi Mustafa. Hi TCG. Raspberry said the actor for the governor had chemistry with Michonne, and he even said it. Andy denied it and wanted Michonne with Rick. Of course. Andy was very territorial over Michonne for Rick. So, and all the other actors wanted to be paired with Michonne, and Rick, and he's like, nope, nope, Michonne is for Rick. Sorry. um. So yeah, let's continue. So they're walking through the horde.
All right, new plan. Flares from a few guns aren't enough. Too many walkers, too spread out. We're not going to the armory. We need our vehicles back at the quarry. All of us drive. We'll need to round them up. We leave, we come back.
Okay. Judith, to the quarry and back.
I'll take her.
Okay, so Rick said change of plans because he was assessing everything, and he said there are too many walkers, too spread out. Because the plan was, he said they were going to go to the armory and get the flare guns, each of them, and try to set off the flare to get them to disperse in whatever directions. But he said it wouldn't work. They're too spread out, and there are too many of them. So new plan, what they were going to do, leave and go to the quarry, get the cars, come back and use the cars. Everyone get a car and use the cars to lure them away, the walkers away from Alexandria, right? So that was the plan. You know, all this time, this show, I never knew what the plan was. I just knew that they were trying to go somewhere, and I didn't now I know what the plan, and it makes sense because I was like, why don't they use something to distract and have the walkers follow them? But Rick says they need the cars because all the cars are at the quarry. Because I'm like, use a car there, but he said all the cars at the quarry. So they need a car because they need something fast enough to get ahead and far enough. Because if they're walking or running, they can't, they will get tired and the walkers won't get tired, so the car will help keep them going. So good plan, Rick. So he was saying, then my lady speaks up and said, yeah, but Michonne, not Michonne, Judith, I don't think, Jesse said, I don't think Judith could survive the trip to the quarry and back. Why not? She's a baby. They walked with her on the road. I don't know why Rick listened to her. So Gabriel spoke up and said he will keep her safe. He will take Judith to the church so the rest of them can go. So, yeah. So, Judith is being carried. It's so the one that probably couldn't make it is her son, not the baby who is being carried. Please. And Rick should have said dumb idea because I don't know, maybe the baby, leaving his baby in Alexandria where there's all this walker versus taking her out of Alexandria away from the walkers. At least she's with him and she's not, whatever place she's in Alexandria won't be overrun and, so this is out of character that Rick would say okay to Jesse's boneheaded plan, and two, that Michonne would allow Rick to say yes to Jesse's boneheaded plan. Because remember what happened when she left her baby? Remember? When she left her baby in a place that was infested. She left the baby in the camp and it got overrun by walkers. So Michonne should have told Rick, take the baby with you. Take her with us. So that's, to me, doesn't match their character's response. Exactly. Raspberry said Jesse and Sam were the ones who couldn't make it. Yeah, they're carrying the baby. The only drawback with carrying the baby was that before they get out, she might cry. But before they reach to, before Gabriel take her to the church, she could cry and they could get swarmed. So I don't see how Rick would agree with not keeping Judith with them and exit Alexandria with her. That makes no sense because they're going to a car, you know? They're going to go and they're going to carry her with them to the car, to the quarry where the cars are. So, hello, YouTube me team. Okay, let's continue. So, Gabriel is saying he'll take her to the church. The Slayer said, "Do you know Melissa? She played Carol Pelletier. I don't know her surname." Yeah, Carol. I don't know Melissa. Yeah, I know of her. I know of the actress, but I don't know her. Constance said, "I think the church was closer to the exit at that moment, so Gabriel had a better chance at making it before she cried." Okay, Constance. Well, at least that makes sense.
Safe in my church until you all lead the walkers away.
Can you do this?
I'm supposed to.
Michonne, speak up. Can you do this? She's like, you know, can you do this and not fall apart? You know, you're taking our baby. He said, "I'm supposed to." That's not a good enough answer.
I have to. I will.
Oh, poor Judith. Oh, she's so sweet. And I love this Judith actress. The twins, you know, from this time on to when Rick leaves, that set of twins played Judith, and I love them. They love that twins, that set of twin loved Danai. Loved Danai. They call her Mama. What is it? They called her Mama Michonne. Mama Michonne.
Take Sam. No. Yes, Sam, it'll be safer. I'm not leaving you. Sam. Mom, I'm not. I can keep going. Sam, I can keep going.
See, and not she's like, "Take Sam with you," and he's like, "No." And they're there arguing in the midst of this when they could have been going about their business. Here is an example of another failure of parenting. That's all she did. She was always giving in, arguing with her child instead of being the parent and letting the child do what she says. But so that dynamic carried over to here. The same dynamic they had is continuous here in the most dire of situation, life and death. That's how they're relating to each other because the mother did not set a proper standard.
Please.
See,
Please.
Rick and everybody's waiting to see. Woman, make a decision. You're the mother. Look at Gabriel.
Let's just go.
And look at her giving in to the child, just like eating, won't come downstairs, hiding in the room. Whatever the child says goes. Whew. She decided the fate of her child then? When you don't protect, you're the protector. That's why you're the adult. He cannot make those decisions. He's too young. He doesn't have the experience. He doesn't have the knowledge. That's why adults have to take care of kids. So when you put the decision making in a child's hand, she sealed her son's death, his fate right there.
I'm going to keep her safe.
Yes, Cam J. Cam J says, Michonne asks, can you do this? Translate, you'd better not let anything happen to Judith or else. Exactly, Cam J. Raspberry says, I love when Michonne reassures her love for Judith. Yes. Rashida says, Father Gabriel would get the katana. Yeah.
Thank you.
Look how Michonne is watching him and the baby. Probably Michonne is thinking about the trauma with what happened to Andre when she left Andre with, her with Mike and his friend.
He's gonna make it.
Rick is worried. He was watching and she's like, hey, he's gonna make it. She's trying to reassure him when her kid is right there that needs reassurance and should have been gone with Gabriel. She's focused on Rick. Whew.
I know it.
Sam.
The kid Ron still has an attitude, doesn't want to hold Carl's hand.
We have to try. We cannot go out there. There are too many of them. See that he's gonna kill her. We won't get to her. She needs us. Well done. That is what will happen. We have one gun, and the streets are filled with those things. That man needs her. Okay, she's a doctor. He is sick. And I think we've seen that he knows how to survive. But we need to make sure that Carol and Morgan are okay, and then we make a plan. We cannot just go. Okay.
Rosita, gonna need your gun. Gonna do a sweep of the brownstone. I want to see what other surprises are in here.
Hey, he's waking up.
Easy.
Where is he?
He's gone, Morgan.
Listen,
He took her. Didn't he?
let's get you up.
Oh, I was like, who are those two running to the church? It was Glenn and
Research this place, they missed something.
Enid.
Depends if it was Aiden or Heath's crew who went through it.
Easy.
Look in the Bibles, too. Could have hollowed out the pages.
Are you serious?
We have 2 bullets. People hold up in here. People hide guns, ammo. Maybe something to start a fire. It's Be dark out soon. Maybe we can distract him. We need sheets, ropes, towels, anything Maggie can use to climb down the other side.
Faith without works is dead. That's what Enid was reading.
How things turn.
Enid.
When I wanted to ride, you said that's how you lose people. Even after they're gone. What the hell does that mean?
Girl, he's trying to...
Love. They made you who you are. They're still part of you. If you stop being you, that last bit of them that's still around inside, who you are, it's gone.
Who are those people to you?
My parents. A man named Dale. Maggie's father, Herschel. A woman named Andrea. A man named Tyrese. Who are they to you?
My parents.
And they're still here. Because you're still here.
When there's an opening, we'll make a break for that power.
No, I'll just slow you down.
Denise, you're here. With me. I need you. Maybe I want you to stay. Because I'm enjoying your company so much.
I hate seeing his teeth.
I want you to stay put.
What?
I wanted you to come back.
I can handle myself. You said
I didn't want you to
help.
give up on this place, on these people, to be afraid.
You were right. So I'm here now. And I'm going out there, and I'm helping you. We have to get her off that platform. She's hurt. She needs help getting over the wall. I can climb up the gate. You can distract them. We do it together. I'm just gonna follow you anyway. You keep looking for the Bible clock. I'll make her something to climb down.
Okay.
I liked what you said before. That I wasn't born this way. You're right. I changed. And now I want to help you change.
Hey! You're right. Let's get Maggie.
Can't you just stay here?
Nope.
You get the gift of these. You'll see that one day. Or maybe you won't.
The Wolves guy is a decent actor. Denise is a good actor. So I was like, even though I can't stand seeing his mouth because his teeth was so awful, you know, whatever he was saying, I was drawn into it, you know? So he's a good actor. And it's night and they're still in Alexandria. Could someone explain that to me? Is Alexandria is not that big. Because it was bright daylight. The sun wasn't setting. And now it's dark. It's not even, dusk. It's night. Yeah, but even with that pace, it was bright sunlight constant. Constance said they had to walk really slowly, I guess. That's how Pat the walkers got. The pace that they're walking, they could have reached, because remember, Glenn and Enid were outside and they saw the front gates, but they went around the other side where Maggie was, and they got in daylight. So yeah, they weren't obstructed by walkers or walking as slow, but the pace that they were walking, Alexandria is not that big. At least it would be dusk. It wouldn't be dark. Hi, Bikram. Yes, I'm in Los Angeles.
The monsters will come, and you won't be able to run away when they come for you. One's out there, and they will tear you apart and eat you up all while you're still alive.
Okay, Sam hears Carol's voice and then he sees a kid walker. I think it should have been the inverse, because he's been going through the horde for during the daytime for quite a while now, and they're at night and they're going through what would trigger that? He's been seeing them this whole time. So they should have had a trigger. The trigger should have been he sees the kid walker and then he remembers Carol's word, because the kid walker means that the monster's got a kid. Just so now it reminds him that the monster will get him. So that trigger, that, you know, we know who directed this episode, and I thought this episode was poorly directed. The continuity wasn't there, and then stuff like this, even the conversation, they stopped to have the conversation that the walkers would have heard them, so how it was done. These are the things. Yeah, they may write it in a script, said, okay, they paused to have a conversation, but as a director, remember, the director is helping the writer tell the story. So you're going to support the writing. You should say, okay, this doesn't make sense where they're going to have a conversation. So how can I camouflage it or do it where it makes sense that the walkers would not be alerted? And here, just like, how can I bring in the element of the trauma that Carol gave to Sam? He plays the trauma. And I remember it's not that you could blame it on the editing, because he was in the editing bay also. Because he talked about something is going to happen, and I'm going to share with you what he said when he was editing what he did, or he was assisting the editors, whether he was editing or the editors were editing with him, but he said he was in the edit bay working on this episode. So even if the edit chopped it and put the kid after the saying, me being the director in the editing bay would say, flip that, because there has to be a cause and effect. It has to make sense. So I would have him see the kid, which triggers the memory of what Carol says. Not have the memory, then see the kid. That makes no sense. Because why didn't he get triggered before with what Carol said when he's been amongst these walkers all this time, walking so slowly throughout? Carl dropped the gun. I didn't see that. Constance said, yeah, that's all I had for a guess because, yeah, they took forever. If they kept Judith, they definitely would have died. Yeah. Rashida said, bye, Sam. This is all Carol's fault. What just happened to Sam and Jesse standing there screaming? She has another son to think of. I haven't gotten there yet, Rashida.
Sam? Come on. Come on. Sweetheart. Sam.
She's pulling at Sam and telling Sam, come on, you can do it. Oh, Rick is saying you can do it, but she's pulling him, telling him to come on. Your fault, Jesse. He shouldn't have been. He should have gone. You should have sent him with Gabriel. And they wouldn't be in the situation if he was a kid that listened to her. And instead of negotiating with him and giving in to him all the time because she can't be bothered with parenting, this situation is just a reflection of what's been going on with her and this kid.
Sam, come on. Come on, Sam. Sam. Sam.
Wait, you can do this. Sam's looking mom.
Sam, you can do it. Sam, come on. Sam, come on. I need you to come with me. Sam. I need you to come with me. I need you to be strong.
I don't see any gun dropped. They're eating Sam and Jesse's screaming and Rick is just looking. Everybody's just looking. Oh, there was a mistake there. It said Eugene says Jesse. But it was Rick. And then Carl is saying, come with us. I don't see a drop gun. Where did the gun drop? They're eating her and everybody's just standing there. I'm like, leave. Carl is calling Dad and he's reminiscing about all the time Jesse's giving him googly eyes. And Carl is calling Sam. As I said, Carl is Rick's beating heart. So again, that doesn't fit with Rick's character. And 2, the flashbacks were Nicotero. It wasn't in the writing. He said he put in the flashbacks and also he put the red streaks. And he was so proud of that too. As I said, he wanted Rick and Jesse. He does not want Rick and Michonne. So he was putting in things that were not in the writing to support his desire. So she's holding on to Carl. Rick takes out his hatchet. Car- See, Carl is calling out, and Rick is taking so long. Okay, he's gonna do it now. And this Nicotera said he keep inserting Jesse and putting putting it in red flashes, making him making Rick saving Carl. Why is he inserting Jesse? Well, since he's putting interpretation in it that was not in the writing, I'm gonna put my interpretation in it. The Rick chopping off Jesse's arm to free Carl is a Rick chopping away at his past, like finally cutting off and letting go of his past. The Jesse arc, which Nicotera tried to model in that end, the Jesse arc was about Rick's guilt and trying to do over saving Lori, like Morgan trying to do over clearing, trying to fix what he didn't. Rick trying to fix what he didn't do, and the guilt that he feels, just like the guilt Morgan feels. Carl almost dying because he wouldn't let go. He wasn't paying attention, and cutting off Jesse's arm, acknowledging Jesse's death is actually acknowledging the death of his ghost. This is something he cannot fix. This is Rick coming to the realization that he cannot fix the past. He cannot do over the past. He has to let go. So that was that was how the arc came to an end. And at the end of the episode, Rick's monologue to Carl is going to support that. You're going to see him confess that he couldn't see, and he couldn't see the future. He didn't have hope for the future, and he refused to let go. So Rick's dialogue is going to support that. Where Nicotera tried to get it fuzzy and put in his supposedly artistic styling and his interpretation, trying to make this moment more about Jesse and less about what it really is, which is about Carl letting go of his ghost so he can be there and build a future for Carl, which is what is this is about, the chopping off and saving Carl. Nicotero was bragging how in the editing room he did all of this. He added the flashbacks, he added the reds, because he was trying to make it more about Jesse and Rick's relationship with Jesse instead of what it really was, what the episode was going to culminate about. Ugh. Rashida said, watch where Rick drops the gun. Carl just dropped the gun. So who dropped the gun, Rick or Carl? Constance says, well, I mean, Carol didn't think this would actually happen ever. Oh, did what's his face direct this? Yes, Constant, what's his face directed this. And that's why you had that. That's why it was not consistent. That's why it was disjointed. And that's why Rick chopping off Jesse's hand didn't focus about saving Carl, and he tried to make it into some flashback, tried to give more feelings to Rick about Jesse than there was. Yeah. And he was so proud. He did an interview. He was talking about how I was in the editing and I thought, ooh, what could I do to make this more, impactful or whatever. Yeah, he did that. So it wasn't in the script and he was trying to sabotage what he knew was to come, in my opinion. Rashida say, yeah, he directed season 6, episode 9, Greg himself. Oh, I got rid of them, Constant. Don't worry about the trolls. There'll always be trolls. Raspberry says she should have picked up Sam. She's so unintelligent. And held his mouth. Right? Shut him up. Constant says, I thought so too. Just pick him up. The montage was so stupid. Rick, exactly. Rick didn't care that much for Jesse. The montage was all Greg Nicotero's idea. It wasn't in the script, and he was so proud to tell it. It was all his ideas. Rashida, flashes of Jesse and Rick's mind. That was Laurie. The flashes were not. Jesse wasn't in Rick's mind. That was Greg Nicotero's mind. He put it in there. It wasn't a part of the script. He put it there. Rashida said Carl had the gun. Raspberry says Rick and Michonne were the only responsible parents in this episode. Yep. So whose gun fell? When he chopped off the hand and Carl fell, whose gun fell? You see what I talk about the directing? You have to make these things clear. All I saw was the gun fall on the grass. And then, but who did the gun come from? I don't know. Then Ron picks up the gun and pulls it. So he didn't have a gun. The gun fell and he picks it up, but I don't know whose gun fell. Rashida said, I guess you have to interpret. I believe it's Carl's gun. Yeah, we don't know because the director was too busy lamenting his loss of his blonde. He loves his blondes. Greg Nicotero. So there you go. And Michonne saves her man. About you. It's just like, oh, I looked really funny there. I was like, Raspberry said, if the gun, it's a gun that Carl took from Ron when they were in that room. Ah, that makes sense, Raspberry. That makes sense. Because I didn't see Rick have a gun in his hand, and Rick's gun is a Colt Python. You'd see that silver gleam. That's a black gun. So it's Carl's gun. But woo. Rick to his woman. Thank you, Michonne. Thank you. Rick isn't grieving. Rick is like, thank you, Michonne. So him putting all those flashbacks, what's that about? That whole family's wiped out, gone. Look at the horror on Rick's face when Carl says, Dad? See, that was enough of a shock for the episode, right? That was, so Whew. Look at Rick's face. Carl falls. And Rick is crying. And Michonne is losing her mind and swiping. And clearing a path for them. Thank God. What a cleansing. When I say a cleansing, like the focus is back where it's supposed to be. Rick, Michonne, and Carl. Just, just get rid of that dead weight. We just got rid of that dead weight arc, that dead weight family. And finally, they're back to who we should have been focused on all this time. All that time wasted. And then such a pivotal moment, Rick cutting off the arm to save Carl. Nicotera tries to bring it back to this blonde, and it's what a waste. But it's over, clearing. Now we're focused, and then you're going to see what this whole arc was about in Rick's dialogue to Carl at the end. So let's get there. Oh, we're back to this story. Oh my gosh, Morgan and all that. Denise and the wolf. Oh.
Sooner or later, we're fighting our way out. I know that you're fully aware that we will.
Yeah. We will. Not you.
Well, by my reckoning,
Eugene. Come on.
Moving towards the gunfire. That shout. As though someone thought they could put up a fight. I guess you all thought that.
We did put up a fight. That's why your friends are dead.
Yeah. We should have waited and watched a little longer. I was selfish. But maybe if I wasn't so selfish, I wouldn't have got that IV. We're gonna find a gap and go up that guard tower and over the wall. You don't need to be afraid.
Go to hell.
You need to know it's safer out there than it is in here. Start moving. Start moving. Now, straight up that goalpost. And do not.
Guys, I have to take a quick break. I'll be right back, okay? I'm going to give you Yoda for company, but you discuss what I was talking about and discuss the episode so far with with each other. I'll be right back. I won't be longer than 5 minutes. Cam J says Skybound had a montage of reactors to the family being wiped out, and one of the reactors' responses was "Bye." I had to laugh at the way she said "bye." Rashida says, "I believe that the last thing was Anderson. They were just to fill, just like in the comic. Jesse was just as bad, just as a bed warmer for Rick in the comics until he got with Andrea, and she had a son named Ron." I can't. Okay. It was too obvious that what the director was trying to do with Jessie being, a blonde with blue eyes. Everyone's supposed to gravitate to her. Rashida says, "Don't forget to hit the like button." Thank you, Rashida. Ah, Raspberry says, "Grogu looks so cute, isn't he? I love Grogu so much." Uh, Raspberry says, "I wish we had another season of The Ones Who Live, just to get more shown and how they speak and live together. I feel cheated." Yes, Raspberry, that's what I would like for season 2. The selfish part of me, I want more of them because we were cheated in The Walking Dead. We didn't get to see them. We got montages, but we didn't get them lived in as a couple, just very short snippets. And I would like to see them living together as a family, talking, discussing their, relationship, raising their son, all of that. And yeah, so that would be good. But as I told you, what my concerns are for continuing. Rashida says, "Raspberry, I would love to have a season 2 of The Ones Who Live, but I don't want to overstate. I don't want them to overstay their welcome and directors get sloppy and do something dumb like the last season of Game of Thrones." Right, Rashida? Overstay, that's what Rashida meant. Yeah, I understood. Raspberry says, "Feel you, but I think Andy and Denai wouldn't let the show go bad." Denai is a great writer, but she understands endings. Great writers understand what great endings are and what would honor the characters. So, we're thinking of it, you know, we want them to stay forever and we love them. They're thinking of it as creatives. They wouldn't make them do anything out of character that I trust them on. But remember, they're actors and writers, and they want, they're looking at things creatively and artistically. So they may not even be like, I'm just afraid of Andy's sense of humor and what he wants for Rick. And also, as Danai, as a writer, would see it as a great, their love lasted and one sacrificed for their lives for the other. And that's a great ending. And as creatives, as I said, they will want to move on, and that's a way to definitively end it. So I don't know. I trust them not to make them do anything out of character, but I don't trust them as creatives to not end the story. And I prefer them living on in our imagination. So I love the ending they gave us for season 1. Beyond that, we'll be playing Russian roulette. Rashida says, like Daryl Dixon, season 1 was good. Season 2 for me was boring soon as Carol came on, and season 3 held my interest. Sherry says that would be such a treat, but what with what was mentioned earlier, I'm not so sure anymore. Sherry, I'm sorry to have put doubt into the equation, but I'm thinking as a writer and as a producer, what could happen. So yeah, I I want to live. I want to imagine their story going on and knowing that they're still around. I don't want any of the characters to die. And I think if they keep going, eventually to end it, one would have to die or both. And, and I could see AMC agreeing with it and wanting the kids to carry on the story. And I'm not interested in the kids carrying on the story, because when Rick Grimes dies, The Walking Dead dies. Because that's what happened with the comics. They hoped Carol would carry on a story, and the comic died. Rashida says Andy will definitely be in the writing room like he did the first season to make sure Michonne and Rick's story was told correctly. Yes, Rashida, but as I said, they wouldn't let Rick and Michonne do anything out of character. But that doesn't mean they wouldn't let either die to end their story. You get what I'm saying? Rashida said Dead City was a good show also. Season 1 and 2 just got tired of Maggie. Raspberry says Daryl Dixon season 2 was trash, but I hope the producers could step in the next one. Oh, I didn't watch them. And it's canceled. So, because the ratings, they would be, they were already losing money. It could bankrupt the studio, because that's how bad the ratings are. It was terrible. They can't sell advertising. Okay, let's continue. We're almost done.
Go.
Let's go. Come with me now. You get me to the infirmary, I save your life. I'll save your life.
Well, he got a piece bitten out of his arm. Oh, Morgan. Carol and Morgan again. I cannot. I'm tired of them. It's not engaging. It's not
You had a child,
interesting. It's annoying.
right? A husband? I didn't want to hurt you. I just had to stop you.
You saved him for you, not us. If it was for us, you would have. I should have killed you. I should have.
You can't.
The infirmary's right across the alley. We need to get you there now. Hey,
The letter was clear. I could have made it.
you turned back for me. Maybe it was because you needed a doctor. Or maybe you changed. You ready? How are my patients?
They're doing well. We moved them upstairs just in case. Oh my God. The kid. Is he big?
Nope. Any bandages? Top shelf next to the sink. 2 IVs, fridge and all the clean towels you can find. Aaron, grab the gurney. This is a gunshot. Handgun. Close range.
Please. Please. That's gonna draw them here.
Aw. Rick brings Carl into the medic and the clinic, and Michonne tells Denise what gunshot, close range, and Rick is lost in his head, just traumatized about, cannot believe Carl is shot, and like probably thinking, oh, my son is dead. My son is dead. And he's like, please save him. And while the camera is focused on Rick, Michonne takes off the um the sheet the sheet with Walker guts on it. She takes it off of Rick. So she's taking care of Rick while he's going through all of this. And, oh my gosh, it's so beautiful of Michonne. It's so loving of Michonne. She's just, Rick is lost right now because he's like in a nightmare. And Michonne can understand that, the nightmare of losing your son. So she is taking care of him in the midst of that. It's so beautiful. Rashida said Carol was hell-bent on killing that wolf. Yeah. Constance said, I felt her on killing that wolf, though. Sherry says, I'm with you. I can't stand Carol. Le Messenger, hello there, hi. Constance says, yeah, Michonne always does little stuff like that for Rick and the kids. Yeah, it shows you how much she loves and cares about them. Because, everybody's focused on Carl, which is good because they're trying to save his life. But she's focused on Carl too because she's letting Denise know what's up, But even though she's focused on Carl, she's also taking care of Rick because everyone forgot about Rick, but Michonne didn't forget about Rick because she knows what Rick is going through. She's panicked, she's hurting, she's scared for Carl, but she's also hurting, and it tells you how connected she is to Rick and how much she loves Rick.
So many lacerations. Spencer, I need that.
Rick is in disbelief. He keeps looking back at Carl. Ah, Murder Rick is on the loose. Michonne is like, what are you doing? Rick. Michonne is like, what are you doing? Rick. I can understand Rick. Rick cannot grasp the idea of losing Carl. And he can't just stand there and not do anything. So his rage, he has to take it out on something. So he's like, why not just go and, wipe out these things. Rashida said, Rick, this scene with Rick going in the wood is pure savage. I love it. Rashida says, look at that. After she made sure Carl is okay on the operating table, she kisses his head and goes to help her man. I'm not there yet, Rashida. Let's see. Savage Rick. Well, how long can he keep that up?
Hold on. He needs my help. One more suture. I need help there. This is his son. Give me a second.
He's taking them all on. We have to go get a... What? We have to. This is it.
Okay, got it.
Now, Rashida. She kissed his head and she's out there and the rest are going out. He said, we gotta go help. Aaron said, yes. Spencer has joined them. Michonne swiping them down. You have help, Rick. Oh, that was that cowardly neighbor. Rick said, knock them away, drive them down. So now Rick is in it with them. He's like, he's now coordinating and leading them. Okay, good. Rick says we can beat him. Even Olivia came out. Gabriel have baby Judith. Oh, Judith's crying.
Of course.
Gabriel,
Tobin, go help him.
what are you doing?
We've been praying
We've been praying
together,
together,
praying that God will save our town.
praying that God will save our town.
Our prayers have been answered.
Well, our prayers have been answered.
God will save Alexandria.
God will save Alexandria.
Because God has given us the courage to save it ourselves.
Because God has given us the courage to save it ourselves. Finally, Gabriel, finally you're saying something true in regards to God.
Guys, it's thinning out there in front. You need to get out there.
And not just about how you feel.
He's out there fighting them with Michonne and some others. It's time. Up the alley. I'm going. Denise is safe. Did you see her? Yeah, she made it to the infirmary. I'm gonna go help Rick.
I'm going too.
I'm with you.
All right, me too.
Right behind you.
Eugene, you don't have to.
That's incorrect. I do. No one gets to clock out today. And hell, this is a story people are gonna tell.
Eugene is so dramatic.
I'm sorry.
Morgan saying sorry to the Walker Wolf. When Glenn and Enid left to go help Maggie, wasn't it daylight? Why is it not? They're just reaching Maggie in the dark. This makes no sense. Oh, brother.
Go get her!
Abraham and Sasha to the rescue. Yay. Woohoo!
What the hell happened? I don't know, I just got back. Listen, we can lead some of them away with their scanners. Nah, we'll get them all together. Won't have to lead them away.
Go, Rosita. Rosita's just boop, boop, boop. Rosita is handling business. That doesn't look like oil. That looks like water. In the comics, it was Abraham that shoots the bazooka. So Daryl took that from Abraham. There, go towards the light. Go towards the light, little children. That sounds spooky, doesn't it? Rashida said they should have had Abraham fire the bazooka, but Greg Nicotera is the one who directed this, right? I hope, Rashida said, I hope there was no fish in this little lake of theirs. The aftermath, death in the streets. Oh, that's a cleanup. Okay, this tableau, the death in the streets, and then they go to the infirmary, right? And then the people outside the infirmary, you have Aaron, Spencer, Heath, what's her name? Enid, Rosita. Is that Carol? Eugene, and some other Alexandrians, and Tara also, Sasha and Abraham, Eugene and Morgan outside. So you had the death in the streets, and then you had these people outside on the porch of the infirmary. Then Abraham opens the door to the infirmary, and then when you go inside the infirmary, there is Denise stitching up Daryl, and Glenn and Maggie. Maggie's sitting on a bed, and Glenn goes over to her. So that tableau, it shows you who is on it. This is Rick's family, and the people on the outside are his extended family. So you have Carol, Rosita, Tara, Aaron, Sasha, Eugene. Yet Abraham opens the door and walks in, and you see the other part of Rick's family, the ones more closer, more on the inner circle. So on the outer circle are the characters that are a part of Rick's extended family, but that are not as close, maybe even into the heart, to Rick's heart. But so outside, he loves them, they're part of his family, but they're not in his inner circle in here. In the open door inside the infirmary now, you have the ones that Rick loves the most, which are Daryl, Maggie, and Glenn. To him, they're closer to his heart. They're family, but not as, distant relatives that you know and care about as the ones on the outside. Then the camera angle is going to go towards the room where Rick is. And right at the door is Michonne and Judith. So now we're leaving the inner circle to Rick's core family. Now, this is his heart. And you have Michonne and Judith, and then the camera pans from Michonne and Judith to Carl and Rick sitting at Carl's bedside. And the first thing that Rick says to Carl at his bedside is, "I was wrong." Listen carefully to the dialogue. So the picture, and this is a direction. This is not just Greg Nicotero. This is the direction of the script, because now we're going to show you the inner workings of Rick's mind and Rick's heart. So when people love to say, "Oh, Daryl is," when they're saying Rick reunited with his family. This is Rick's family. They're like, well, Daryl is Rick's family. Yeah, Daryl is Rick's family. And he's in an inner circle, that interior with Maggie and Glenn. But Rick, the heart of Rick, the core, it's right here. It's in that room and right there. Michonne, Judith, Carl. That's Rick's heart. That's Rick's beating heart. That's his family. So it shows you the inner workings of Rick with the camera, the literal, symbolism. And then now we're going to have the words where he's going to express what's in his heart and what this arc was really about. So he starts with, "I was wrong."
I thought after living behind these walls for so long that maybe they couldn't learn. But today, I saw what they could do. What we could do if we work together. We'll rebuild the walls. We'll expand the walls. There'll be more. There's got to be more.
There's got to be more.
Everything Deanna was talking about.
Everything Deanna was talking about, not just Deanna, Michonne. It's possible. Michonne. What Deanna was trying to get him to see, what Michonne was trying to get him to see, what Glenn was trying to get him to see, what Bob was trying to get him to see. But he couldn't see because he was holding on to the past. He was holding on to his trauma. He was holding on to his guilt.
It's all possible. I see that now.
It's all possible. I see that now.
When I was out there with them, when it was over, when I knew we had this place again, I had this feeling. But it took me a while to remember what it was.
He had this feeling. It took him a while.
Felt it since before I woke up in that hospital bed. I want to show you the new world, Carl.
Rick said he hadn't felt the feeling that he felt after he realized that they saved Alexandria. He hadn't felt this feeling since before he woke up in a hospital, in a sense that when he woke up and the world was over, the world had ended, the apocalypse, he had lost hope. He was just surviving, trying to keep Carl alive, Carl, Lori alive, now Carl and Judith alive. So he wasn't even trying to live for himself. He was just trying to stay alive to keep Judith and Carl alive long enough that they can try to survive on their own in case he dies. So he didn't have hope for the future. He didn't think there could be a future. He didn't think there could be a world. So and this was he was, and this is a big confession. And he did confess that to the doctor at the CDC, remember? He did confess that to the doctor at the CDC, where I think the doctor outed him that, I thought you said that you didn't think that there was any hope. Like when he was trying to convince the CDC doctor to open the doors to let them try to survive a little long. He was like, yeah, I think that there's really no hope, but we can, and Laurie joined in this, we can keep going as long as we can. But then Laurie changed her mind when Carl was shot. She was like, I don't really think what is this? Why are we trying to save him? For what? The world has ended. There's no future. So it tracks. Rick had no hope. And now with Carl on the brink of losing Carl, and them just saving Alexandria, and I'm inclined to think also the love that he has, not just for Carl and for Judith, but for Michonne. I think he's starting to wake up to that there can be a future. And there's another sign that Jesse was never a factor for this man, because he wasn't thinking of a future with Jesse. He still has his wedding ring on because he was still holding on to the past, and he was still holding on to the inclination that there really isn't any hope in this world. He was just surviving to try to keep his 2 kids alive as long as possible. So yeah, he loves Michonne, but Michonne didn't give him the green light, so he didn't have a future. He didn't see a future with her in the sense that they're going to she's going to join him and be a family with him, like a real, real family, husband, wife, kids, everything. You know, he was just had her living with him platonically, but he was just surviving. But now he's saying he's actually feels hope now. And maybe that's why he looked for his opportunity, as Michonne said in The Ones Who Live. He was just waiting for his opportunity because now he wanted a future. So he was gonna try with Michonne again. He was gonna try like he tried in season 4. He was gonna try again because he wanted a future. He wanted a future with her. He wanted a future with Carl, not just not just surviving. So, and he ends it by saying, "I want to show you the new world, Carl."
I want to make it a reality for you.
He wants to make it a reality for you. He sees hope and he wants Carl, he finally, not just survive, but to have hope that there can be life and living and a world after the end of the world. He can see a future for them. He didn't see that or want that when he was with you know who. So how is that, I'm telling you, it's just he didn't, there was no there. He didn't see her that way and he didn't want her that way.
Please. Carl.
And that's ironic. Rick is pleading with Carl to wake up because now he finally sees and wants this future, and Carl is bowing out. Come on, Carl, wake up.
Let me show you.
Let me show you. He wants to show his son this future. Please, it says don't die. I didn't hear that from Andy's mouth, but the caption said it. So maybe it was in the script. And there we have Carl coming awake or indicating to his dad, "I'm still here, Dad." And that look from Rick, that was awesome. So there we have it, guys. There we have it. Finally, the end of this arc, and Rick confessing that this is how he's been living this whole time, without hope and not believing. Hold on, there's a lot of noise in the background. I can't hear myself. So yeah, we have that confession that Rick has been living, he's been living not only in the past, but he's been living without hope and just surviving. And didn't really see a future and a life. And that's why, people are like, why didn't he, if he loved Michonne, why didn't he try? We already discussed how he tried before and she didn't reciprocate. So he just kept it on that. And then now we have that he doesn't see a future. In essence, when I say see a future, he's to propose and ask someone to marry you and have a life with you, you have to see a hope for a future. You have to see a hope for a life with that person. Um, and he didn't do that because he didn't really believe that there could be life after the end of the world, of the apocalypse. He didn't think, just like when he got to Alexandria, he couldn't believe in the reality that um Deanna, Michonne, and Glenn and Bob and even Carl was telling him that this could work. This place where they are, they could try to build a life, a future. He didn't believe it. So it makes sense that he didn't even um try again with Michonne and just kept it as it is, hoping that she would stick with them. So whatever that was with Jesse wasn't him. He wasn't trying to have this woman in his life as his partner because he didn't believe in a future like that. So again, another indication, because as soon as now he said he has hope and he wants to build a life, real life now, and a world, a future for Carl and Judith, and he sees hope now. He has hope. He never had that since the he woke up from the coma. So isn't it ironic? Right after he sees a future, he tries again with Michonne. He tries and she reciprocates this time. Because the first time he tried, she didn't, because she didn't see it. But now she's relaxed. She's happy. She sees a future too. Her wall is coming down. Deanna tells her find what she wants for herself, and she's with her family. We're gonna see the beginning of the next episode. We'll talk about it more then. I don't want to get into it now, but we see Michonne's wall has come down, and so when Rick tries again, she's receptive. She's more aware than she wasn't aware back then. She wasn't thinking of any romantic possibilities. Now her defenses, her wall is down, so she can entertain that romantic possibility. So when Rick tries again, immediate reciprocation, right? So it tells you. So the argument that Rick didn't want Michonne and was all about Jesse, the Rick's ending speech put to waste that argument. The whole arc with how Rick behaves with her puts that argument to rest. How Rick behaved around Michonne puts that argument to rest. And Rick's second attempt to feel out Michonne if and try to see if try to try with Michonne again to let her know he's interested, he goes for it. He goes for it because now he has a hope for a future. And at the beginning of the next episode, the biggest clue that Rick really wants Michonne is going to be at the start of the episode, and it's an inanimate object. And during his arc here with Jesse, it was always there. And another clue that he did not want this woman to be his woman because that inanimate object was still there. So let's see what you guys have to say. Hi, Vilma. Vilma said Michonne is my favorite. She's my favorite too, Vilma. Hi, Sagar. Hi, Hawaii. Rashida say yes. On to episode 10. Hi, the Slayer says, hello, do you remember me? Of course, Slayer. Can you do me a moderator, please? Can I be your moderator? For what channel, Slayer? Warren says, Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I agree, Warren. Okay, guys, did everybody go to sleep? Where's Cam J? Where's Raspberry? Where is Constant? Where's Sherry? Did you guys go to sleep on me? Okay. I know you're there, Rashida. Raspberry's here. So, oh, Constant is here. So, any ending saying good night. Yes, Cam J, good night. Thank you for sticking around. I know it's very late for you guys. Thank you so much. It was a party. So we're on to episode 10. We'll try to do that Friday. I'll do it earlier in the day. So I'm going to try to do it if I'm available on Friday. I'm going to try for 4 p.m. East Pacific. So it would be 7 p.m. Eastern for you guys. So I'm going to try. I'm not holding tight to that time, but I'm going to try for around that time. We'll do episode 10 on Friday. Thank you guys for sticking around. Wow, 2:44 a.m. Thank you guys. It was a party. Yes, Cam J. Loved it. Loved having you here. Sherry said, here soaking it all in. So anybody, any final words? Cam J saying bye, good night. Good night, all. Bye. Good night, Sherry. Love it. Love having you here. Constance says, I agree with what you're saying. He was holding on to Laurie, and with Jesse's death, he can move on. Yes. Oh, it's 12:45 for you, Raspberry, so not too late. Rashida says she's going to do a rewatch this live stream and the last one. Oh, Rashida, I'm trying to edit it down so you don't have to go through everything. So I'm still on the 6:4 edit because today I was swamped. So thank you guys. Loved hanging out with you. See you Friday to the beginning of Rishon being a couple, of an official couple. That's gonna be a doozy. And hopefully Nor will be there. I have to post. I'll try to post, if not Thursday night, Friday morning, so that Nor knows. Because Nor says she does not want to miss that episode. Oh, you like the talks in between watching? Okay, Rashida. Okay. Friday, episode 10. Yay. Okay, guys, thank you so much. Have a good rest of your night. Wonderful Sunday. And be safe and be good to yourself. Okay? Blessings. Love you guys. Bye.